I'm into it. I'm into it. Kia ora everyone, and welcome back to my channel and my first monthly wrap-up video. Today I'm gonna share with you the books that I read in August. August was a pretty varied reading month in terms of genre. Kind of dipped into some unexpected things for myself, which was quite nice. I only read 3 books this month, but one of them was 600 pages, so I'm hoping you'll give me some slack for that. I also am a very slow reader, so yeah, can't really help that. So something that I thought that would be quite interesting maybe to add to these videos is to talk about the books that I have read each month, but then also maybe mention any books that have kind of influenced my future reading from these books, if that makes sense. Does it? I don't know. So I've read these books and they've made me want to kind of pick up other books, either by the same author or ones that explore the same themes or are the same genre, that kind of stuff. Hopefully that clarifies it a bit more. Okay, let's get into it. The first book that I read in August is Dune by Frank Herbert. I've been wanting to read this book for a while and August felt like the right month to do it. I wasn't as busy as I had been previously. Yeah, it was a good time. Dune is the first book in a series of 8. The first 6 were written by Frank Herbert, and then he passed away and wasn't able to finish the series, so his son Brian Herbert and a sci-fi writer Kevin J. Anderson finished the series, and they wrote the last 2 books. It was written in 1965 and has been often named one of the most influential science fiction writings, and went on to influence quite a lot of other science fiction writing. Some may call it sci-fi of all sci-fis. Or that's just what I'm calling it. I'm going to try and do a synopsis of this. It's kind of hard. At the center of Dune, you have the planet Arrakis, also known as Dune. It's a very harsh desert planet. There's no water there, and the weather conditions are quite harsh. It also is very rich in something called mélange, which I think is just the French word for spice, which is also what they call it in the book. They call it the spice. It's a really valued commodity in this universe. It allows things like space travel, but it also kind of prolongs lives when people take it, and you also kind of have these weird kind of mind-altering experiences when you have it. It's a drug and it's very addictive. People want to control this planet so that they can control the spice. So the story goes, the House of Atreides has been asked to take over stewardship of Arrakis. There we meet our young male protagonist, Paul Atreides, who is the next heir to the house, and you follow much of his journey throughout the story. Oh yeah, and there are giant worms that live under the sand that make the planet, or most of the planet, almost uninhabitable. So that's a fun thing. Dune touches on a lot of ideas and themes that traditional sci-fi wasn't really doing at the time. It was kind of, I think that's what made it stand out as a series. Ideas around religion and politics and ecology. The ecological ideas were the most interesting to me, especially around the Freeman people. The way that they valued and respected all forms of water even human bodily fluids, which was quite interesting, and how they were able to adapt to the harsh planet and live in areas that were considered uninhabitable. It felt like the deep spiritual relationship that a lot of Indigenous people have with the lands that they live on. I know that for Māori, there's a deep connection to the land and just a level of respect that is given to the land that we live on. And I thought that was a really beautiful thing. It was definitely a long book. I hit a wall about 2/3 of the way in and was able to kind of push through that after talking to a friend about this who's read the series a few times and has a really good understanding of it. I realized that I was really caught up in the small detail of the book and thought that everything needed to be noted, as you can see. But then I just realized I was kind of stopping myself from just reading and letting the story happen. So once I kind of realized that that's what I was doing, I just let it go and enjoyed the ride. And I did enjoy it. It was a really good first dip into sci-fi for me. I think I will definitely pick up the second book in the series at some point, just maybe not right away. So reading Dune has made me want to read other sci-fi, and my friend has recommended that I pick up The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. She's a feminist sci-fi writer who writes about cultural preservation. Say no more, sign me up. The next book that I read in August was Objects of Desire by Clare Sestanovich. I read this on my Kindle. It was an ARC that I got through NetGalley. It did take me a while to get through, but like I said, it was a big truck. Like I said earlier, I'm a slow reader and I can't do anything about it. The collection is being published through Pan Macmillan in the UK, and that's likely the edition that we'll get here in New Zealand. It was also named on LitHub's list of most anticipated books of 2021. So pretty stoked to be able to read it. Thank you NetGalley and thank you Pan Macmillan. It's a debut collection of short stories. Each one centres a female character living her daily life. Desire is at the centre of each story, but not in the typical sense. Yes, sexual desire is a part of it, but you also have forms of desire like yearning, longing, ambition, which to me feel like much more kind of interesting ways to talk about desire, especially when it comes to women who often aren't afforded any other kind of ways of talking about desire. These short stories were like little vignettes into the everyday lives of these women, and there was a really strong kind of melancholy tone to them all. Like I said before, that yearning, that was really strong throughout the whole collection for me. I feel like most collections you do end up having favourites and not so favourites, and that's the same with this book. I thought the writing was good. It didn't blow my socks off, but I felt like the tone overall of the book was really sad and lonely, which I really like in a book. I like when a book can carry a central kind of mood across the whole thing and make you really draw into that. And it wasn't a deep sadness, it was just kind of like a really like hum the whole way, which I really liked. I would recommend this book if you're getting into short stories like I am. It was a nice entry into Sestanovich's writing, and I'm excited to see more from her. So because I'm getting into short stories, I thought I would give this one a go. Look How Happy I'm Making You by Polly Rosenwaike. It's a collection of short stories around motherhood. So you have characters in it, women who have a desire to become mothers, that theme of desire again, ones who are unsure whether they want to become mothers or not, and stories on new or recent mothers who are feeling overwhelmed. I'm going to read a little excerpt from it because I thought this is what sold me on it when I saw it in the library. It says, sharp and unsettling, wry and moving in its depiction of love, friendship and family. This collection expands the conversation about what having a baby looks like. That little line there sold me, so picking up that one soon. So the last book that I read in August was Second Place by Rachel Cusk, her most recent fiction writing. I read this book with my friend Lani. She is very smart, thoughtful reader. It was great to have someone to kind of bounce ideas off. She had a lot of different ideas, took a lot of different things away from this read, so it was fun to be able to have someone to talk it through with and then discuss afterwards. And there was a lot to discuss because this book is a lot. Second Place is narrated by a middle-aged woman named M, who becomes infatuated with an artist named L after she has a profound and life-changing experience when she first sees his art and his paintings many years before. M believes that there is now this deep connection that she has to Al and his artwork. So she decides to invite Al, the artist, to her home where she lives with her husband. They have built this place that they call the Second Place, where they want artists to be able to come and writers to come and be able to create work. So M invites Al to the Second Place in the hopes that he will interpret the landscape the way that she kind of imagines that he will. She has these very grand expectations of like how inspired he's going to be by the landscape of where they live in the Second Place. And as soon as he arrives, things don't go the way that she thought they would, and from there you end up with an M who is very disappointed and kind of longing and searching for that feeling of when she first encountered Al's artwork and his paintings. What this book highlighted for me was how strange the relationship between art, the artist, and the viewer, or the person taking in the art, can often be. The degrees to which a person can feel transformed or changed by art, and that connection that they have to the art and to the artist. I've always known that this exists in art and also in obviously reading. Like, I've had experiences where I've read something and to some degree have felt a profound sense of like awakening. This book kind of exaggerates that, but also really highlights the one-sidedness that relationship often has, and kind of almost shatters that illusion of what it is. It's like meeting your hero almost and realizing that it's all fake. This book has pushed the idea of art and writing specifically to the very front of my brain, and I can't think of anything else right now, but I bloody love it. Like, it's fantastic. I don't know that I got a lot of what Cusk was trying to say in terms of the traditional gender roles that were being kind of fleshed out in this book, but the parts that I did get, I felt very deeply, and that was enough for me to go, okay. I always find Rachel Cusk's writing a huge comfort, and I am always going to look forward to reading it. Okay, so now I'm obsessed with artists and art and those who write about it. It only makes sense to turn to Ali Smith. My friend Lani is a big Ali Smith fan, and she recommended starting with There But For The. She said it was a great starting point for her into Ali Smith, so yeah, gonna give this one a go. So that's what I read in August, and a wrap to my first monthly wrap-up video. Let me know if you've read any of those books that I mentioned. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? And what was your favourite read in August? Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Ka kite anō.